Let's talk about you. You said recently, I actually thank God for my addiction to pain pills because I learned more about myself in rehab than I would have ever learned otherwise. What did you learn from drug rehab?
One of the things that I had always had trouble with in my life was trying to be what other people expected me to be or wanted me to be in my personal life, because I wanted to be liked. You know, everybody's raised to want to be liked and to want to be loved. Nobody wants to grow up being hated. Now, interestingly, my radio career, I don't care. You know, I figured that out. It was a tough thing, Chris, to learn to take as a measure of success being hated, you know, by 20 or 30% of the country. I mean, that's because nobody's raised for that. But in my personal life, the thing I learned most was that the only way to have real intimacy with people, real solid relationships, is to be who you are. That will attract the kind of people worthy of having intimate relationships with, good friendships with.
And without putting you on the couch, are you saying that the addiction came from some sense of personal inadequacy?
Of course, yeah. It wasn't good enough, or I was masking unhappiness elsewhere, not dealing with the real reasons I was unhappy in my personal life. I had never experienced the kind of euphoria that I got from a pain pill. I think the only time that I really, with all the success I've had, the only time I've had that kind of euphoria was when I made the high school football team as a sophomore. I was never prouder of myself, but all my career achievements did not create that for me, because you got to maintain it every day. It's not something you earn and then it lasts forever. And I don't look back. I don't stop and think about what I've accomplished, because there's always tomorrow. So I don't have time for the euphoria. I don't have time for the, man, am I something? I'm too busy trying to meet everybody's expectations tomorrow. So the pain pills came along and they masked all these feelings of inadequacy that I had. Now, after just 7 weeks of this place in Arizona, I have zero feelings of inadequacy. It's not been replaced by an irresponsible ego. It's just a confidence in who I am.
You signed a new contract last year. 8 years, reportedly, $400 million.
Reportedly, right.
So, I'll go to the horse's mouth. True?
It could be true. You know, I'm a guy who earns a percentage of what I generate every year. There are some guarantees, but the $400 million is not guaranteed. I have to earn that.
But you could earn $400 million.
I could. I'm ahead of schedule, in fact.
And don't get me wrong.
Right.
I think you're a great broadcaster. How can you possibly be worth that kind of money?
Very simply, value is determined by what somebody will pay you to do what you do. I'm probably worth more. I'm not complaining. Do not misunderstand. But you know, this whole question. See, I'm a capitalist. You're worth whatever you can get. You're worth whatever your value is, and that's determined by what somebody's willing to pay you for it. And the only reason I get that money is because the people who invest in me get results beyond their expectations.
All right. You believe in the free market?
I do.
Let's talk about the NFL and the decision to drop you as a possible owner. What about the argument, look, this is a bunch of billionaire owners sitting around and saying Rush Limbaugh isn't good for business. Is that the free market?
Yeah, but that didn't happen. It never was allowed to get to that point. My name was leaked as being part of a group. Roger Goodell, the commissioner, goes out and cites a 6-year-old quote that I made about Donovan McNabb, got it all wrong. Jim Irsay of the, I call him Hearsay because he's repeating things that weren't true, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, joins the chorus. And I never got past first base. I mean,
so what do you think that was about? What do you think happened?
Well, I think it's actually about the fact that the NFL is about to lose its current collective bargaining agreement with the players. And guess who happens to be the new executive director of the Players Association? A guy named DeMaurice Smith, who is Obama. He's part of his transition team. He has suggested that the Congress, the White House, might get involved to stop a player or owner lockout. So I think, and he got involved in this too. You know, he was out participating in the spreading of quotes I didn't say, warning Goodell and the owners what might. I think this is a warning shot across the bow, saying to the NFL, look, We're going to be close to running this league, not you. We don't want this guy here. And I think, I don't really take this personally, but I do think it was a bunch of cowardice all the way around.
Let's do a lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers. You started talking about Vice President Biden this week, and you said to your producers, now get the bleep button because I may go over the line, and then you censored yourself. So I'll ask you, what do you think of Joe Biden?
Pompous, bit of a windbag, and wrong.
About?
Pretty much everything. I mean, there's a guy in July who says, well, we guessed wrong on the stimulus jobs. We guessed wrong. Anybody with a brain could have told you this stimulus plan wasn't going to work. I mean, he's a walking comedy of errors.
Sarah Palin, you say that you admire her backbone. Do you really think she's ready to be president?
Well, yes, I do. See, I am one thing I do not do is follow conventional wisdom. And the conventional wisdom in Sarah Palin is she's not smart enough, she needs to bone up on the issues, she's little unsophisticated, Alaska, where's that? Doesn't have the pedigree. I've seen, she's the only thing that provided any kind of a spark for the Republican Party. Now, this is not an endorsement, but I do have profound respect for Sarah Palin. There are not very many politicians who've been through what she's been put through, and still able to smile and be ebullient and upbeat. I mean, this woman, I think, is pretty tough.
Finally, some politics. You predict a possible bloodbath for Democrats in 2010.
I really do. I know that there is an eruption waiting to happen at the ballot box. I know that a majority of the people in this country are opposed to every single major agenda item that Obama has proposed and is trying to get passed. The mainstream media doesn't do it, doesn't know it. They think they need a visa to go to Missouri. You know, they're not in touch with what's happening. And in fact, if they do find out that there's this kind of angst, they look at the voters with contempt. Well, you're not sophisticated to understand how brilliant Obama is and how magical his agenda. They don't want any part of it, and it's going to be bigger than anybody thinks, especially if health care gets passed. And if they get cap and trade, if they start going down this global warming fiasco track and get something passed on that, there will be a revolt at the polls.
If you had to bet now, does Barack Obama win re-election in 2012?
If I had to bet now, he will not.
You got a name of somebody who's going to beat him?
No.
Can beat him?
No, I have no clue about that.
If he does win, how's Rush Limbaugh going to handle 7 more years of Barack Obama?
You know, I'm glad you asked me that, because one of the questions I always get is, but Rush, isn't Obama, aren't these Democrats in power good for your business? And the way I go about my business, I'm out to get the highest ratings I get every day. I'm out to attract the largest audience I can, regardless of the news. It's my talent that draws the crowd. The news is incidental to it. No, I'm worried, seriously worried about the future of the country. I would never put my personal success in front of what I think is something that's disastrous for the country.
And 7 more years of Barack Obama would
it'd be painful. It would literally be painful. This is... Every day you get up and there's a new potential threat to liberty and freedom being launched by this man and his administration, and it's some days I'm in radio, and some days I feel like I'm in the trenches in a war. No bullets being fired, but trenches in a war. I mean, it's really intense. When I love this country to have this kind of passion, and I want Paul Revere. I want as many people to hear what I think the problems are. Because I believe the people of this country eventually make it work and get what they want. I do believe in the democratic process and the vote.
Rush, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.